Fall's here and we're making pumpkins today. Let's get right into it. Today we will be making these cute knit pumpkins using the Addy Express. You could also use an Addy King, but your pumpkin's just going to be humongous. So for materials, I'm using loops and thread. This is a weight for acrylic yarn. So you'll need your Addy machine. Like I said, whether it's the Express or the King, it doesn't matter. Scissors, you always need scissors. A yarn needle, stuffing, thing to stuff your pumpkin. So I'm using, I think it's called polyfoam. You can also use scrap yarn. You need a glue gun. And last but not least, my favorite material, you'll actually need cinnamon. This is a real cinnamon stick from the grocery store. Smells amazing, and that's everything. But go ahead and grab your machine, and you want to put it in the circular knitting setting. I just designed this pumpkin in another video, so if you want to see how I made this one, go and check the video. It's going to be linked down below. First and foremost, you want to make sure for the best experience you're using a center pull yarn. This is not necessarily a center pull yarn, but what I've learned is if you just pull it out from the center, it's going to become a center pull yarn. There's a real way to do this. Like I saw a TikTok hack so long ago, so I don't remember it, but I just pull it out pretty aggressively and I just look for the beginning of the yarn. This is the center of the yarn, so you see when it's a center pull, it just pulls so nicely, and that's what we want. So there's no interruption when we're working with this guy. Okay, like I already said, you just want to make sure that your tab is facing downwards and that your machine is in circular knitting mode. Next, you want to drop about a foot of yarn into the center of your machine, and you want to bring your needle up. That's in position 1 to this carriage over here. So in order to do that, you're just going to turn the handle on the machine until your first needle gets to the carriage. You always want to make sure the carriage is closed while you're turning the handle. My first needle is black and I have it right in front of the carriage. So like I said, I dropped my yarn in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and put it in front of that first needle. Now you're going to do an alternation where you go behind the next needle and then in front the next needle, behind the next needle, in front the next needle. And you just do that for the entirety until you make it back to this first needle. You get to the last needle, you want to make sure that the yarn is finishing behind it because that's the pattern that we have going on. Bring the yarn behind and then in front of the last needle and open your carriage. Then drop the yarn into the tension guide. There's a little hole here. You should drop it through there and again close the carriage. From here, if you have a counter, you want to go ahead and set it to 0. And now this is the fun part. You can actually choose how many rows you do for this. I would suggest for a really mini pumpkin to do 40 rows, for a medium-sized pumpkin like the one I showed you before to do 60, and for a larger size pumpkin to do 80. And as you do more rows, you'll just notice that the shape and the character traits of the pumpkin will just change. So more rounds you'll do, you will need more filling. So just keep that in mind. If you have a little bit, just go ahead and do the 40 rounds if you don't think you have a lot of filling to stuff your pumpkin. For the first round, you do want to go pretty slow. So I like to hold the machine with this hand. I hold it over here just to stabilize it. And at the same time, I also hold the yarn in my hand so it looks a little something like this, right? And then I just turn the machine. For the first round, you want to go around slowly. I say that because it's really easy to drop your stitches in the first round. We just made it back to that first black needle, so that means our first row is completed, so we're all good to go. And at this point, you can speed up or you continue the same pace, whatever feels best for you. And you can see now our counter is showing 1. So all I was willing to do was 80 rows, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop there. Once you're done, you're going to open your carriage and pull up the yarn, and you're going to leave a similar amount of yarn that you did at the beginning in the center of the machine right now, so maybe about a foot, and go ahead and cut it and drop it in the center. Go ahead and close the carriage again and make sure that the yarn is falling behind that last needle. Then you're just going to what's called drop all the stitches. So basically you're going to turn it without any yarn in the machine. So that looks like this. Just make sure you don't go all the way to this needle. Okay, so you can even go this close, but just don't go here because then your project will fall off the machine and it will be completely ruined. So from here, once you get near that last stitch, you're going to thread the needle. You're going to thread the yarn through the needle and you're going to pick up all of your stitches. So to pick up your stitches, you can just see all of these are free stitches. So you can pick them up one by one, or you can pick up a few at a time and pull it through. Okay, so pick up all of the stitches. If you didn't drop all of the needles, you will need to turn the handle again, but you're going to do this for all of the needles on the machine. Now that I've picked them all up, the needles that are still not dropped, I need to drop them and just pick up the remaining loops that are still on the machine. Okay, and once you go through the last one, you can go ahead and pull the yarn all the way through. And now you're done with the machine, so you can just put it off to the side. You won't need it anymore. So from here, you'll have a tube. Yours might be shorter or longer than mine, not a big deal. What you want to do is you can just put your hand inside the tube, pull it from the opposite side, and when you're pulling it, you also want to go ahead and put this string in between your fingers so you can pull that up as well, because you want this string to come up on the opposite side too. Now you'll have something that looks like this. The inner tube, you're going to go ahead and pull. You don't have to pull too tight on that string to close that hole. And then on the outer tube, same thing. Go ahead to close it shut. Doesn't have to be too tight. You just want it to be not protruding open, right? So just close like that. So then tug on both strings to line the two ends together. And then it will look like this. Here you want to go ahead and grab your stuffing, and you're just going to go ahead and open up this hole and put the stuffing inside. So for a frame of reference, it's not falling out. You could do that if you want a super, super, super chunky pumpkin, but this is about how full I have it, where there's still a little bit of space here between the opening and where the filling ends. And you can kind of squeeze down to encourage the shape of the pumpkin, but you'll have a lot of time to get it exactly the way you like it, so don't worry about that too much. Next, you're going to take the string that's on the outer tube. So the string that's on the inner tube will be coming through the circle. So ignore that one for now and go ahead and thread your needle with the string that's coming from the outer tube. So go ahead and pull that through. And then you want to go ahead and put the needle through the center hole and bring it up through the top of all of that filling and just pull it up. Okay. You don't have to pull it super tight or anything. From here, you're going to pick any point at the top of the opening here, and you're going to basically tie a knot. So you're going to pierce the needle outwards, from in to out of the project, and pull the yarn through. Okay, and this yarn in the center, you want to have it a bit slack. So you don't need to pull it super, super tight like that. It will make the project look a little askew. So it's okay to leave a little bit of slack there. Now you're going to put the needle from out to inwards towards the project. And you don't want to pull it all the way through, you want to make sure you leave a little loop here because we're going to go back through this loop to make a knot. So put your needle through this loop and then you can tug all the way and you'll see that that's going to make a little knot here at the top just to secure it. Okay, so now that you have your knot, you're going to close this circle shut. So to do that, now we're going to feed the needle at the top of the pumpkin. So don't do it down here or anything. Make sure it's along the top side in the opening. And you're just going to do this around the whole opening, going all the way around until you meet yourself back at that knot we just created. So it doesn't take too long to get around, but just still take your time. And we're almost there. Okay, and you can see it. So just a little bit more, and now we're back at that beginning. And now, once you keep pulling, you'll see that you'll be closing in that circle. You don't need this to be fully closed because this is where the cinnamon stick will be going. So it goes right in there at the top, so don't fully close this circle. Now you have something that looks like this, and you can see the height difference, right? So the more rounds you make, the taller the pumpkin will be, and also the more chunky it will be. So whatever your preference is, this one was 60 rounds and this one was 80. From here, we're going to go ahead and make these little bumps that you see in the pumpkin that are so cute. I think 8 or 4 of them will be best. So what you do first is I like to go in just the direction straight down from where my needle is right now. So I'm just going to go straight down, and you can see that there's this little column right here that I'm going to follow and make my string fit through that. So I'm just going to drop the yarn down that column. It doesn't have to be perfect because real pumpkins aren't perfect. And then I'm going to come back through here at the bottom hole and push my needle through that and push it all the way up. As your pumpkin gets taller and taller, this will be a little bit more complicated to do. You'll need this string at the beginning to be a little bit longer, so just keep that in mind. So you can see as I pull down on it, it starts to take that shape and also start to lose some of its height. So if you really, really like the height, don't pull down as much. If you want it to be shorter and chunkier, go ahead and pull quite a bit. I like the shorter and chunkier version, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. To kind of hold this in place, the tautness, I'm just gonna hold it lightly with my thumb, and you just want to go straight across in the opposing side of where you just cinched in with the yarn. So we just cinched in over here, so straight across, I'm gonna go right back here. Right over here, down, down, all the way to the bottom. And again, just always through the center at the bottom, and then just push through the top and back through the top center and pull it through. And you can see it lost a lot of its height now, but you can see like the two, I'm calling them prongs right now, I don't know what to call them, but like the two indents or prongs on the side. Now I'm going to go straight across this way. So I'm going to bring it down over here, down to the bottom, through the bottom center, and up through the top center. So down through the center and up through the top. And then this is where we just went. So we're going to go straight across this way. So all the way down to the bottom center, and then all the way up. And pull it up, and you could stop here and do 4, which I think is super cute, but 8 is my preference. So for 8, you're going to cut all of these 4 sections in half. So you're going to go this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you got the hang of it now. I'm just going to let you watch me do it because I know you don't need any more instruction, but you might need the visualization. So cut those corners, And again, if you're looking to have more height, just don't pull as tight as you're pulling if you don't want to lose out on the height of your pumpkin. The more tight you pull on it, the more height you're going to lose, but the more chunky it will be. So it's best of both worlds that you can have like two completely different types of pumpkin, but using the same like base tube that we started with. So this is my last side that I need to do. And you can see that the string we started with now is pretty short, okay? And now if I just scrunch it up like this and put a comparison, you can see the size difference isn't huge, but that's because I really pushed down and I want it to be shorter. So this pumpkin definitely could have been like this much taller. That just wasn't what I was looking to do, but you can absolutely see the size difference, and this one is bigger. And if you haven't already, this is a perfect time to plug in your glue gun and add some glue sticks into it, because we're going to go ahead and add the cinnamon in here. So you want to take one of your cinnamon sticks and just kind of place it in here, and then you're going to decide how long you want it to be. So if this is how you would like it, you have nothing to do, but if you want it to be a little bit shorter, you'll either need to cut it or break it, snap it into two. These are actually pretty hard to break because you do want to break them straight, and they are pretty strong. So what I usually like to do is put the stick in and see how tall I want it to be. So I want it to be about here. I think that would look good. And I like to make the indent with my scissors. Please be very careful while you're doing this, but I feel like it just helps make it looser. Possibly there's a better way to do this, probably with a kitchen knife or an X-Acto knife, something like that. But I don't want to get any more tools. My main concern right now is not breaking my nails, because I've already broke too many of them. So I'm just going to keep on doing this. Ooh, and you can see the results of using scissors. So again, there's probably a better tool for this. If anyone knows, please leave it down in the comments below. Like I said, it's probably going to be a kitchen knife, but I don't want to bring my kitchen stuff into my craft area. And when you break this, it smells so good. So that's such a great part of doing this craft. So I just went ahead and broke it, and that looks amazing to me. I like that a lot better than how tall it was before. Additionally, what you want to do is, so you don't lose this string, you probably won't, but you just want to secure it a little more. So go ahead and thread it if your needle came off, and you're just going to pierce through somewhere close in the center a little bit. And again, don't pull through the loop. So you want to leave the loop up, but pull through the needle and leave a loop up, and then put your needle through the loop just to secure it and make a little knot so it stays in place. All right, so this is what we have for our pumpkin. So go ahead and take your cinnamon stick. I would leave the jagged edge down. So the one like where the break is, I'll leave the nice straight edge at the top. So what you want to do from here is kind of pierce it in. My hole at the top did close a little bit more than I expected. You could also flip it and make this the top. It's totally up to you. I like it facing this way, so I'm going to do it this way. And just have it in there in a mock way to make sure you like it. So go ahead and grab your glue gun. It should be all heated up now. And you want to really put the gun like kind of inside, like press down a bit. Don't use too much glue because the glue will get around the top of the pumpkin and it won't look so great. And you want to have enough, not that it spills everywhere, but enough that it will basically cover the bottom of the cinnamon stick so it will connect properly. And if you start seeing glue, that's how you know you have enough. So go ahead and make sure you have the side that you want down, down, and it will start dripping. So make sure you pull the gun up and just insert the cinnamon stick. I like it a little bit slanted. And once you have it in, you have the bottom glued. And don't worry if you have some glue coming up. Once it dries, it's cold. And you can pick it out, but be very, very careful because when it's hot, and it can absolutely burn you, like for sure. So now you want to get more at the stem and just have it touching the pumpkin and the stick. This is where the extra string comes in handy because I like to take it and wrap it around and ever so slightly, don't push too hard at all because then it will stick. I push it down with the yarn needle just so it just touches it ever so slightly. It doesn't need a lot to stick, not the yarn to the glue, not at all. And again, it's hot, so be very careful to not touch this with your fingers. You can absolutely burn yourself. So you do need to work kind of quickly when it comes to this part, but you also don't want to burn yourself. That's more important, so work strategically and quickly. And again, like I said, if there's any glue on the top like this, you can just pull it off or cut it off. I would wait till everything fully dries so you know that like the stick is in here securely. I feel like this is pretty secure. It looks super cute to me. And luckily, the string was the literal perfect length. That is why I said to leave yarn at the beginning as well, because if you ran out of yarn here, all you'd have to do is thread your needle and pierce the yarn up and bring it up here and basically continue to use this yarn as you're using this yarn over here. This is again, just if you didn't have enough. So this yarn doesn't have a bake function in the sense of leaving it long. You always need to leave extra yarn at the beginning, but I am definitely suggesting to leave a little bit more than you need, because since this ended up so perfectly, all we need to do here is just feed this through the pumpkin just so it's hidden inside the project. We don't need it at all, to be honest. I'm just going to pull it through, and then I'm going to pull it taut, and then I'm going to cut it, and then it's going to get lost inside the project as if it never existed. And then there you have it. Your pumpkin is done. They're so cute. I'm about to make so many of these. Let me know how it went. It smells so good. That's probably my favorite part of this project. It's on theme, and also the smell is on theme. I've had this pumpkin since last year. You can still smell the cinnamon. Like, it's so amazing. I love it. I finally have three. Three is what I wanted, and these colors go so well. I think like the other colors I have for it are this. I think I showed it at the beginning. And this one, I also think like a deep red and a nice chestnut brown would also be great for them. So here are my three pumpkins. This is exactly what I need. I feel like you need at least three of these if you're gonna have these, and you can kind of like stack them. You know, maybe this one's kind of smaller. Maybe we should go on top. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.